Hello, and welcome to the Coaching Crowd podcast with me, Jo Wheatley, and my friend and co host, Zoe Hawkins.
Hi, everybody. Today we are going to talk to you about career pathways into coaching. And the reason we want to do this is we've seen lots of different people coming from all kinds of experiences into our coaching training. And we know people who are interested in coaching and personal development, professional development will sit with the question like, do I have what it takes to be a coach? Like, is my experience useful, worthwhile as I embark on thinking about gaining some coaching skills? So, we wanted to share different perspectives and ways that people join the coaching profession to see if it's something that you can take from being perhaps a concept and an idea into a reality.
Yeah, it's often a permission-based question, isn't it? Like, can I become a coach if I have done X, Y, or Z before? And yes, of course, anybody can train to become a coach or to become a qualified coach and to get accredited. But sometimes you need to hear it being talked about to really identify and kind of feel, oh, yeah, maybe I can. And this podcast episode idea was partly prompted by what's happening in the world of psychologists. So we know that the BPS are developing like an accreditation for people in that are accredited by them to become coaches, psychologists, and accredited in that way. But obviously, what's needed is training in coaching to be able to support with the application to do that. And so, does our training enable you to do that? Yes. Have we had people go that route? Yes. So, if you are listening because you're interested in psychology, but you've been in that more of a specialist field and you wanted to branch into that, then yes, it absolutely is a route. When we think about the applications that we've had open to join our team recently, we've seen loads of teachers or people in the teaching profession interested in those roles because they're drawn to coaching because there's such an overlap in the skill set, in the value space around that. And so, is it a natural career for coaches that maybe feel a little bit um, burnt out from coaching, or coaching has changed so much that it doesn't feel like the place for for them or for you anymore? Is coaching a natural place to go next? Yes. And you'll know our story, our history of working in HR and coming into coaching that way as a natural kind of pathway. I didn't know that when I started my HR career. I didn't even know that coaching existed, but it became clear that that was the way. I've spoken to a lot of people in the NHS recently who have done different levels of coaching training, and they're adding that in. Physiotherapists too. I've spoken to a lot of physiotherapists, and we've had physiotherapists on our programs, some that want to have that skill set while still doing that, and others that want to become kind of lead more with the coaching than the physiotherapy, or become part of a broader team of support for people either in the NHS or outside of the NHS. I mean, they're just a few different pathways into coaching.
Yeah, you've reeled off a number then, and I'm thinking, oh, save some for me.
I can keep going.
I know you can. And I think, as one of the other things I was sat reflecting on is we're a little bit obsessed with identity. I think as a culture, like, is what I do worthwhile for me becoming a coach? And I think my invitation is let go of what you do and think more about who you are and what you aspire to be or how you want to contribute. Those are really the things that connect all of these different professions together. There's a commonality, I think, in the coaching community, passion led, want to make a difference, that contribute to other people, contribute to their organizations, contribute to the planet, contribute to humanity. Like, it doesn't matter which kind of high level you're kind of coming from, but that desire to make a meaningful, valuable difference and contribute in some way is common amongst any inroad into coaching training. I think there's also this piece, and we've said on previous podcasts, that nobody is a complete beginner. So you could have been working in retail, for example, and you're thinking, and you heard about this word coaching, and you're like, oh gosh, is that for me? And really, it's the skills and the competencies and the qualities and attributes that you have as a person that can bring you into the coaching profession. So an enjoyment of listening, of having patience to sit and listen to somebody as they share with you, different aspirations or challenges that they might be going through. It's about being, I suppose, like a reflective person, so you might spend time thinking about how can I be even better at, so I think that skill around reflecting is something that all coaches tend to hold, is that desire for continuous learning and growth. I think there is also a piece around the learner being the lifelong learner, because with coaching, you will come onto a coaching training, you'll do your course, but you're not done. You're not then finished, and you never have to touch coaching ever again. Like Joe and I, every single year are doing some kind of CPD, because it's well, we're nerds, we love learning, and we know that we can always hone our craft or go down a different avenue. So it's not just what you do now or what you've done before, but it's what are the skills and qualities that you hold that attract you to this profession over others. And as Joe said there, the teaching, nursing, I don't know if you mentioned leadership, but we get a lot of leaders from all different industries coming, because ultimately they're driven to make a difference for people that they lead and the people that they manage. So those skills are a common factor, I think, amongst the people that we see coming into the coaching profession.
I think with people sometimes on calls, when people are interested in joining our coaching programs, they'll say, I'm really interested in doing the level 7, for example, but I don't want to have my own coaching business. So I think it's really important that we sort of clarify, maybe on the podcast, that we aren't all about developing coaches to go on and have their own coaching business. We absolutely do that. And we have our Coaching Crowd Business Lounge, which provides a whole library of resources and expert speaker sessions and a community to support people that want to do that. But the training program itself is for people that are in organizations wanting to develop, coaching skills, that don't necessarily want to go on and train, but also gives those that want to have their own business all the skills they need from a coaching perspective. We also do a lot of work with organizations that are wanting to develop a coaching approach or a coaching culture. Sometimes I think the word coaching culture just feels too big, that people don't even know where to start with that, and how would you measure it. But we've supported workforces in banks, in construction companies, in IT companies, in conservation based organizations, you name it, that actually want to upskill the managers and leaders to be able to have more effective conversations with their teams, more supportive conversations with their teams, to improve performance, to increase retention, etc., etc. And so the programs support with that too. So in terms of career pathways, having excellent coaching and mentoring skills supports people to go on and progress in their career, which may not be coaching at all, but having those skills are essential in order for them to perform well and to be, aligned to their organization too. And of course, it does no harm to have a backup profession that you could go into in the future if you decided that, that was somewhere you wanted to go longer term. So
Mm.
every path can lead to training or qualifying as a coach if you want to. And actually, our view would be that every single person can benefit hugely from coaching training. And that is partly because, yes, you're learning how to facilitate these conversations with others, but you're also learning how to facilitate those inner conversations for yourself and benefiting from that self-growth and development, that increase in self-awareness. And we know when conflict arises at home or in the workplace or in your neighborhood, it is often because, the communication skills or, have broken down, between individuals. And so being able to develop those skills can really help, not only to avoid conflict, but also to resolve it too, and to use it as a growth opportunity.
I mean, I think it's a bold statement, but you will be changed as a result of doing coaching training, whether that is because you want to be a coach or you want to just grow and develop as a leader or as a person. And I'll share with you a snippet of a story from one of our clients that trained to be a coach. So she's a very senior leader. Was in a role. She'll know who she is if she's listening to the podcast. Very senior leader in a role, who never wanted to be a coach, but came to the coaching program to be the very best leader that she could be. And in the duration of the program, an opportunity came up for her to apply for another very senior position. And the only reason she applied for that position was because of the coaching training that she was doing. So it was helping to kind of build her profile, build her confidence, build her visibility, her belief in herself. So she applied for the position, obviously got offered it because she's amazing. And then she negotiated her salary, which she said she never, ever would have done. She would have just taken whatever they offered. So she negotiated it up and secured herself an amazing role on a great salary. And that was because of it was because of her, and it was because of the learning that she'd taken, but it was because she was training to be a coach. And I think that is a really classic example of the unseen benefits of training to be a coach, is the elevation that you get in yourself that enables you to progress your career in whatever direction feels relevant to you. And in that role, she's going to take forward these coaching and mentoring skills and be an even more impactful leader, and think of the ripple effect that she'll now have through that organization. So it isn't always about being a coach. There are lots of different routes into coaching. And when you think about joining the coaching profession as a leader, you are still part of that coaching profession, and you can become an accredited coach if you want to, still maintaining your roles inside of the organization. So it's an extension, I think, when you with those stories, an extension of your role and of the impact that you're able to make.
Yeah, and with our group and team foundations of group and team coaching, you don't have to be a qualified coach to do that program. So, again, people might look at that and think, "Oh, I'm not a coach. I think I could benefit from it. Can I do it?" And I think it's important that we make that clear. That, we want to enable as many people as possible to access high quality coaching skills. And lots of coaches may start off one-to-one coaching, but often broaden out into coaching, or they've been facilitators or trainers, for example, but maybe not qualified coaches or experienced coaches. And there is a natural overlap between those things. So looking at how you can support groups or teams, and that might be open access, but it might also be internal. If you're working in an organization at the moment, I think a lot of you will be able to think, oh yeah, like I'm as a leader and I'm running team meetings, like that's a team, and it would be really helpful for me, like if I had some more skills or knowledge about how to do this well. And maybe you're in a role where you're part of a special interest group, and so you bring people together to support them in a particular area, or you're a project lead, and so you've got a group of people working together, and you think, I think I'm doing all right, but I'm not quite sure how I could do this better. So, project managers, coaching skills, I would say, are essential for that. I've had a project management role before. It's really hard work. It's really complicated. And coaching skills absolutely can help with that. So it's there's mutual benefit whichever way you approach it from, either to develop a non-coaching career. Coaching and mentoring skills are excellent for that. They're also obviously essential if you want to develop a specialist career as a coach or as a mentor, and that could be internally or externally. And I know for a lot of people, for example, when they do organizational programs, are funded to develop as coaches, actually being trained as a coach and having the opportunity to do coaching in their role, although it's not their job role title, is a really important part of them staying with the organization, because they really enjoy that part of it, and they'd love even to be able to do it more. But they may not want to have a coaching business and everything that comes with that, but actually it really makes their job feel more worthwhile for them.
Some of my favorite inquiry calls over the years have been with those clients who come from, I guess, the more unusual routes into coaching. I can remember it wasn't a call I had, actually, it was one that you had. Again, the client who we're talking about will know who they are. I think you came off the call and you were really excited to have just spoken to a professional poker player. That was a first, wasn't it, for us? But thinking about the skills that reading a room, reading an audience, those are really essential skills when it comes to coaching. And actually, we were really surprised to hear how much coaching was on the rise in the driving industry sector. And we've had a few driving instructors approach us for coaching training, some at our level 3 and some at other levels. And I think what we're seeing overall is that the growth of coaching and mentoring really across the world. So it's very big in America already, but we're seeing growth communities across Europe, across the world, where people are waking up to coaching and different ways of being. And so when you think of is the time a good time to invest in coaching skills, I think more organizations will be looking for it in their leaders. And you as a coach, like there is not a saturation. I think we hear that like, oh, the market's saturated. Like, is it a chance for me to do that? And it's still very much a growth industry. So it's an exciting time um, to come into the industry and start to develop your skills as you think about what you want to get out of it.
So wherever you are, whichever pathway you're on, you'll find that there is a way to connect onto this other pathway that is around coaching and mentoring. And I'm so grateful that I discovered that path, because it's absolutely the right path for me to be on, and has opened up so many other opportunities. So I was obviously a coach. I still am a coach, but through that I've become a CEO. So, those pathways are kind of like simultaneous, but it's also drawing other skills and talents and strengths out of me as part of finding that route into that way. And really what we're always interested in is supporting people to make the best decision for them. So, if you're not sure which level is right for you, you can obviously take our quiz. mycoachingcourse.com. And if you are thinking about, I've already done some courses, do I still need to do this course? We're here to be able to answer those questions that perhaps can't be answered through our quiz. And I was sharing with you, Zoe, wasn't I, last week? One of the highlights of my week last week was I'd had a inquiry call with somebody interested in training with us. And they said they'd done all this training and they shared with me what they'd done, but they thought their organization needed them to be accredited. So did they have to do our level 7, which is a master's level coaching qualification? And I said, I really don't think you do need to do that. I think you can have a conversation with the EMCC, the European Mentoring and Coaching Council, and it may be that they would accept all of the stuff you've already done. And they sent me the most lovely email later that week and said, oh my goodness, like it saved them money, it saved them time. And more than anything, it got them the credibility. So, when you know that you're good at something and you've invested, loads of effort in it, but if you feel that nobody else can see it or appreciates it, and they got that. And obviously my response was, you've made my day, because it literally did. I was just so pleased to see somebody that is obviously really committed to coaching and understands the benefits of it and has been doing it to get that. So, part of us doing this podcast is to help you, that, when you're listening, to think about what's going to help you. And when I speak to people, I had an inquiry call this morning about the combination we have of group and team coaching and emotions coaching. And the conversation starts, I feel like I know you, and you helped me get through my coaching apprenticeship, because the apprenticeship didn't provide me with all of the content that I needed to actually pass the apprenticeship. And so you got me through it. And we hear that so often. So, we really do want to, demystify some of the things, break down the barriers that people might experience or see, to help everybody that's interested be able to develop their coaching and mentoring skills. So there is a pathway wherever you are right now. There is a route for you to get into coaching in whichever way you want to.
Absolutely. So if you're any of that is resonating with you, as Joe said, you can do our quiz at IG Company, not our quiz at IG Company. If any of this is resonating with you, you can do our quiz at mycoachingcourse.com, or you can go direct to our website and check out our courses at igcompany.co.uk.